We've all been there, right? That feeling of pure panic when a Horizon environment goes down and the tickets start flooding in. It feels like chaos. Well, today, we're going to swap that chaos for clarity. We're going to turn troubleshooting from a frantic scramble into a methodical, step-by-step investigation. Let's get into it. So picture this. It's the start of the day. Users can't connect to their desktops, and the pressure is officially on. It feels like there are a million different things you could check at once, but the real question is, where is the right place to start? Okay, so instead of just randomly checking services and hoping for the best, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're going to follow the evidence, rule out suspects one by one, and use a clear, repeatable framework to crack the case every single time. Now, every good investigation starts at the perimeter of the scene, right? And for us, that's the network. Before we look at literally anything else, we have to make sure the fundamental pathways are clear. Because look, if the data can't get from point A to point B, nothing else is going to work. So, here are our first 3 investigative steps. First up, can your clients and servers actually find each other? Basic DNS and hostname resolution. Second, is something blocking the path, like a firewall rule? And third, can we confirm there's a direct line of communication between all the key components? Let's zoom in on that firewall piece for a second. These 2 ports right here are absolutely fundamental. TCP 443, that handles your standard secure web traffic. But port 8443, that one is critical for Horizon's Blast Display Protocol. That's literally what delivers the desktop experience to the user. So if that port is blocked, the session just isn't going to launch. End of story. And just like that, we find our first real piece of evidence. A user reports seeing this exact error code. Peer unavailable. Now, this is not just some random message. This is a massive clue, and it's pointing us in a very, very specific direction. This error code, it's basically pointing a giant flashing arrow at our prime suspect, the network. It tells us that the client successfully reached the gateway, but the gateway couldn't reach the internal desktop, and that almost always means a firewall is standing in the way. We're already getting closer to solving case file 1. All right, so once we've confirmed the network path is clear, our investigation moves to identity. A user might be able to reach the login page, but can they actually prove who they are to get access? It's a whole different problem. So here's our lineup of authentication suspects. Is it something simple, like the user's Active Directory account is locked? Or maybe your SAML identity provider settings are misconfigured on the UAG? Could it be a problem with your multi-factor authentication, like Radius or RSA Secure ID? And of course, never forget the classic culprit, an expired certificate. Okay, so our user has successfully navigated the network, and they've authenticated. They are in. But now they're reporting problems inside the session. So our investigation moves from getting access to the actual quality of that access. Let's look at 2 of the most common complaints you're going to hear. If a user gets a black screen, your first suspect should always be a video driver issue or maybe a resolution mismatch. That makes sense, right? The driver is what renders the desktop image. But if the session fails to launch entirely, it's way more likely that the virtual machine is just stuck and needs a simple reset. Now here's another piece of evidence you might run into, the gateway error. This is completely different from the peer unavailable message we saw earlier. This clue is telling us the problem probably isn't between the gateway and the desktop, but on the gateway itself. This error code puts a spotlight directly on the Blast Secure Gateway settings within your Unified Access Gateway. It pretty much screams that there's a misconfiguration right there, which narrows your search down dramatically. You have to let these error codes guide your investigation. They are your most direct clues. So when users complain about a slow session, you need more than just their word for it, right? You need cold, hard data. And your #1 tool for gathering these clues is the Horizon Performance Tracker, which runs right inside the user session. This tool is so powerful because it translates those vague user complaints into hard metrics. When a user says things feel laggy, you can actually look for high input lag numbers. If they report the screen freezing, the tracker will show you that too. It helps you confirm the problem is real and not just a perception. So, we've examined the network, authentication, and in-session performance. For our final case file, we are going to the most definitive source of truth you can possibly find, the logs. This is where you find the smoking gun. The evidence is spread across the entire environment. You've got logs on the user's client, on the virtual desktop agent, and on the connection server. VMware even provides a neat tool, the Diagnostic Information Collector, or DCT, to bundle these up. And please, never forget the basic Windows event logs. They often hold the key. Let's talk about a very specific problem, one that stumps a lot of admins. Your master image is perfect, but when Horizon tries to create a whole pool of desktops from it, they failed to customize or they failed to join the domain. Where is the evidence for that?
Here it is. This is a critical but so often overlooked clue: location. The logs for the Windows System Preparation Tool, or SysPrep, are buried in this Panther directory. If you are having provisioning failures, I guarantee you the answers are almost always hiding in these files.
And there you have it. You're no longer just reacting. From the network perimeter to user identity to in-session performance and finally to the deep evidence in the logs, you now have a logical, repeatable framework for solving any Horizon issue that comes your way. The investigation is now in your hands. You have the tools, you have the method, and you know where to look for the clues. The only question left is, what case will you solve first?